Hi guys, welcome to the Black Sheep podcast. Back here with Triple H,
Hosting up Harry and
G-Man Phoenix.
yes,
Today we're going to talk to you guys about something that's pretty dear to both of our hearts, is semen retention.
yeah.
So many of you probably have heard of semen retention. Maybe some of you are very familiar with it. We're going to share our experiences and come from the practical side of it, because anybody can talk about.
Yes. Except you
rainbows.
said the word "come from," and we know coming is involved in the making of this episode.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
encouraged in this practice.
No, come allowed. But seriously though, this has been, I think, one of the most powerful practices I've come across in my life.
Honestly,
For
I
you
feel
as
the
well,
same. So let's retract and both ask ourselves, since we're doing it to an audience. I'll ask you first. Where did you first hear about semen retention? And next question after that, you can lead on to is when did you actually commit to doing it?
Mhm.
So when did you first hear, and when did you commit, and what was your first experience of it? The first moment when you got, this is powerful shit.
Gotcha. Well, it happened for me a couple of years ago, and it's quite funny. One of my clients she was a woman. She said her brother or one of her ex-boyfriends got into keeping his seed in. So I messaged him and I asked him about it, and he was quite aggressive, very snobbish and that, like almost militant. So any kind of belief system you're gonna find militant people, but that kind of put me off it at the time. But then I looked into it slowly but surely, and I realized, let me try it. I've got nothing to lose.
What
So
year
this was this was in 20. Oh, this was back in 20. I'd say 16, 2017, somewhere around there. So quite a few years
Quite a
back.
few years before me. So
Yeah, I was in my 20s, mid to late 20s, and I started it. And, bro, I'll tell you what, it caught me by surprise. As the days went by, I started to feel different within myself. And my skin cleared up.
within the first 7 days of the first time you tried it.
Yeah, well, I mean, everyone's different. So you can start it at first, and you may develop what's called a flat line. Now, you know about those too, yeah? Flat lines are not good. But to make it short, based on the question that you asked me, bro, I started and I never looked back. I've been on and off streaks, and when I remember to keep a long streak, I mean, like you've seen, we've been on a long streak, both of us now. You can tangibly and physically see actual results with this. What's your experience with it? What's the first time?
Good question. Similar to you,
Yeah.
but you said 2016 and mine was 2019, towards the end of 2018, actually, I lie. Again, so up to that point, I know I was ejaculating once every couple of days minimum. And the reason I know is because when I can't remember if it was the first time I heard about it, but this was the time, December 2008, and I started to commit. And I did a 7-day run at home at my parents' house. And I remember on the 7th day, particularly, walking up the stairs of my parents' house and thinking, what the fuck? The energy contained with me walking up the stairs was not normal, bearing in mind I was ejaculating at least 2-3 days before.
Yeah.
There was a huge difference from just 7 days. From that point onwards, I never looked back, but like you, I'm still... This is an endless journey. If you mastered it all in one life, it would be pretty boring. In other words, what I'm saying is, guys either get tempted to have blue balls and lose it, or, and especially women, or even go back to porn and masturbation, or wet dreams. So it's a lifelong mastery, which is why we must keep talking about it, because I'm a human and we go on long runs, and then a lot of guys beat themselves up after going on long runs. How do you cope with not beating yourself up too much, or do you beat yourself up, and what strategies to stop guys beating themselves up when they fuck up?
That's a good question, because there's a lot of shame attached to this thing practice. Like society, obviously, you have these things from the past, these urban legends where you'll grow hairy palms if you do it too much, go blind and all that. But check it out. There's actual truth. There's some truth to it, guys. There's books and studies. Like, don't just believe us. Like, you can do your own research. Yeah.
It's true.
Exactly, like when you, because as far as I know, every 2 weeks, you can research this for yourself, the nutrients that you would have lost by ejaculating as a guy will get reabsorbed into the body and reallocated. Any excess that you lose when you jack off, sorry, excuse the crass.
The woman or the toilet paper.
Yeah, it can go into the woman, and she reaps the benefits as well, like skin. Her skin glows as well. Some women literally do this as well. They actually seek it out. Yeah.
Heard, yeah.
So you asked me how to deal with the shame.
How do you deal with it?
Okay.
And generally. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the relapses exactly. So relapsing is part of the journey, yeah. Obviously, if you're first starting out, nobody's gonna try and expect you to be a Zen Buddhist monk that's celibate for like 10 decades, like a decade and a half or something, straight off the get-go. But it's part of life. The thing is, what made it easier for me in dealing with these things, the relapses, is to actually learn and seek what was the trigger for me beforehand. So what can I do better? What can I change so that I'm not in that same exact scenario again where I'm relapsing? And
Temptation.
yeah, exactly, temptation. And it's a beautiful thing that you asked, Harry, about beating yourself up. That's the last thing, gentlemen. And if you're a woman, you can also practice sexual transmutation or retention as well, by the way. But don't beat yourself up, because that'll just make it worse. And it's a mental game, innit?
Yeah, beating
That's
yourself up is keeping yourself trapped in. The whole point is mind freedom, peace of mind.
Yeah.
So you're really fucking yourself up with that. So yeah, ways I've learnt to let go as much of, because I'm actually quite good. I tell you sometimes my issue, I do manually very rarely. Most of the time it's a wet dream every so often. But I know when I talk to you and tell I have a wet dream, I never talk to you like it's the end of the world. My life carries on, because my life is not. I'm not gonna enlighten myself. Although there's a paradox, I don't think I'm gonna enlighten myself with semen retention. It is a big deal, but it's a heavier deal to beat yourself up, because all the good work from semen retention, a lot of it is undone from your mind work if you're going to beat yourself up all the time because you haven't. Like, beating yourself up is actually worse in a way than just going with the flow. However, this is a series about semen retention, and yeah, my advice to people is get a 7-day run or a 2-week run going, and you get addicted. You'll feel the benefits. For me, the benefit, because we can talk all day, I'd like us to talk a bit about the benefits that we've seen, and there's loads. So first of all, I look at our faces right now, and not to show off and be too prideful, but me and you notice the glow, and all guys that we talk to, notice there's a glow that happens in the face and the eyes. The eyes become whiter when you do semen retention. In fact, me and Greg have had synchronicities where we've been reminded of videos when we've done deep runs, where we looked at our videos together and we recognised in each other our faces look completely different to how they look when we're on a lower semen retention runs or just not on a run. So for me, my face goes back to childlike, almost innocence. The whites get bigger. Both the masculine jawline gets more pronounced.
That's true.
And in a science where I think the reason is there's a massive jack up of testosterone, which is a good thing in a society where testosterone is packed. So the testosterone makes the jaw look, and it also makes you exercise more. You can exercise harder. Also, another thing is you have less fear, and that's important as a guy because we're always challenged by all kinds of problems in this world. So you can conquer fears. You're better. I mean, yeah, but in with a few more, those were off the top of my head, benefits of semen retention. Oh, one more thing for me, it gets you smarter, you're more intelligent, you're more in flow. One thing that I'm tuned into is it grounds that traumatized body, centers and grounds you back into your body like you wouldn't believe. Considering the effort of not doing something, it gives you great cost reward, makes you more present to the moment, makes you more intelligent. Yeah, and that's about it for me. What's the benefits that you've experienced? Either add to it or vice versa.
Yeah, a lot of the benefits you mentioned are the same ones I've experienced. I've also had, I was telling you earlier, I've had moments of childhood memories surface to.
That was today, right?
Earlier
That's
today.
so cool.
And
you reckon it was predominantly that, the reason? I mean, it might be.
Yes, because many times on previous streaks, I've gone into moments where I'm looking at the sun, or small moments, because your dopamine is not fried, your dopamine receptors, because that's another thing people forget, is when you're constantly stimulating your genitals, your sexual organs, and ejaculating, your dopamine receptors fire like crazy.
As a result, I guess the dopamine is lowered in your body. You have a low...
Exactly. That's why a lot of guys, myself included, when I was not retaining, you feel lethargic, you feel your energy has a damper to it, you feel more dense. You remember, you feel very tired. That's why most guys fall asleep after they make love with a woman. They'll turn over and, go right to sleep. Because all that energy, that vibrancy. Exactly. So we know that the ancient civilizations and cultures were practicing retention, like the ancient Indians, even now today, the Indian Ayurveda and the Vedic practices, if I'm not mistaken. And also in China, retention was a thing. Bro, did you know that the emperors in China, I found this out sometime a couple of years ago, kept it secret from the masses? Because they didn't want the everyday citizen to reap the benefits and the power from
Interesting.
Yeah,
The
that's-
Taoist, yeah? The
Yeah.
Taoist.
Well, I mean, the Chinese emperors at the time.
The Taoist. I mean, it's a group of people.
Oh,
I
got you.
think-
Oh, yeah, the does. Yeah, that makes
The
sense.
Taoists were the
Yeah.
ones that I remember that communicated. That's interesting. And also, I think that they had, they needed it more. They actually needed it more because they had those ones had a load of concubines. So they learnt by the mistake of, I guess, of ejaculating into loads of different women because they had a load of concubines. They was jacking their energy. So they had to learn the harsh way that if they kept it in, they could still sleep and have sex, which, by the way, is another point. A lot of people think that semen retention is something you practice only when you're by yourself and don't have a partner. Well, my experience and my dedication before was that when I had my first 2 partners, I still practiced semen retention with a few fuck-ups. So you can practice, obviously, having fun, making love, and foreplay and all these things. You just, when you get close to the edge, or maybe not even 95% before 80%, you just slow down and stop. So you're conscious about it. Because, as you said, when you ejaculate, I mean, we talked to Sandy about this on the podcast. When you ejaculate, most guys, I mean, it's normal. It doesn't matter how long you keep it in. You just don't want to service your women or take care of someone else. You become a bit selfish, yeah? Your energy goes, your tiredness goes, and you don't want to take care of women. At the moment of ejaculation, sometimes I force myself, but it's just better to keep it in, right? Semen retention is something not just for celibacy or for individuals. It's more challenging with a partner, but then it's more joyous.
Exactly. I mean, with a partner, you can have tantric sex or non-ejaculatory sex.
Yes,
on
deeper levels, yeah.
Inner orgasms, exactly. Ejaculation, as they call it, for both men and women, by the way, guys. Both men and women can have inner orgasms, and men can have inner orgasms that don't tax his system, but actually gives more energy to you. It recirculates it and re-energizes it.
I assume recirculates the chi semen to magnify even more. That's only a theory I've got, but it makes sense.
That's
so
exactly
it magnifies
what
the semen
That's
10
exactly
times
what it
more
is.
powerful.
Yeah.
Like,
It said that the semen. Oh, sorry, bro. The semen is made from what's called chyle, chyle, but this is like a churning of energy produced from the food we eat. So that eventually comes into, it makes up blood, makes up bone, goes all the way to bone marrow. And it said that if a man ejaculates too much, a lot of his spinal fluid is getting
so true.
released. Yeah,
So
a
true.
lot of it, and that's very bad. The loss of spinal fluid can lead to long-term health issues down the line.
Hip issues, bone issues, spine issues.
Exactly.
Sure.
A lot of people
And
with
most of the brain is made up of spinal fluid. So when you ejaculate, you're costing your brains, all parts of the organs, but particularly your brain. It's why you become dumber.
the
Spinal fluid is the in between the neurons connecting the brain connections. So you lose brain connections basically every time you ejaculate. You literally become dumber.
Exactly. Your cognitive faculties go down. You start to feel less sharp. But what we're saying, guys, is that retention is for everyone, men especially because of the seminal fluid, the Shakti as it's called. Women can also do it. But like, there's no judgment for people who choose not to. This is not like some type of pedestalized practice that we're saying we're better. No, we're not better than anyone. All we do is share our experiences and let you know that it's very possible to have a really good baseline on retention, because me and Harry have been doing it for a few weeks now, and just our baseline when we wake up in the morning and go to bed at night, we're feeling great.
It's amazing.
We're
Less
feeling
sleep.
great. Yeah, less sleep too, exactly.
You need less sleep, you've got more energy. One thing I want to say is that because you're increasing testosterone drastically with each day, because I want to encourage you guys not to think you need to go on from nothing, like you said earlier, to an 8-week run.
Yeah, exactly.
You fuck up, you start again. You get every day's a brand new day. It's one of those things that we get on hobby horse.
Yeah.
So because the testosterone's going up every day, sometimes it can get, at certain points, it can get hard to contain. And at that point, you've got to really dial down into your health, diet, qigong, and all these things. But also, when you increase your testosterone levels, so when you increase your testosterone levels, you increase actually your dopamine levels. And you reminded me today, because you told me that you noticed your reaction times, your hand-eye coordination is quicker on semen retention. The reason why, in a science base, is because your dopamine levels on semen retention, your baseline dopamine tied into the receptors, gets spiked out. Now, your dopamine increases your hand-eye coordination. It also drastically increases your sleep. You're more likely to keep still for a restful sleep. That's why I wake up with energy in the morning. But also, high dopamine is useful for getting up and you feel driven to get on and crack on the day and have a purpose. Low dopamine is linked in with depression and not having a purpose. Exactly. So when you have a massive dopamine dump and testosterone, you feel really good. Like really good. One thing I want to say as well is that I've noticed you put on, we get a bit of a guy swag. There's nothing wrong with this actually, having a guy swag out and about. Like you're so not fearful that you walk about with a little swag, and it's
And you don't even do it intentionally, yeah?
it's not intentional,
happens
and it's natural
automatically, yeah.
because you're feeling so good in
crazy.
yourself that you're sub-communicating confidence, and girls can pick up on it, this confidence. So
Very tempting.
it's not the reason to do this necessarily. Depends on the person. It can be, but one thing you'll notice on deep semen retention runs is you will get girls looking at you more often, and then as also if you go and talk to them, you'll be much more confident. So girls pick up on all people pick up on invisible frequencies. The frequency of your life force retained even after 7 days, and it builds and builds, is incredible. That people out and about can sense it, and that's fucking cool.
Yeah, exactly. It's very interesting. Now, if your intention is to do this just to get girls, you're doing it for the wrong reason. Nothing wrong with it. We don't judge. Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, there's not. That's why I said no. I mean, that's why I said there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah, you'll notice that. I mean, at least for me, I'm sure you've come across this too. That it's a very spiritual experience.
Yeah,
I'm doing it more to be closer to God.
absolutely.
And yeah, attraction. You'll notice attraction, whether it's intended or not. Like Harry said, you will find out that exactly. People will be drawn to you, both men and women, and animals too, funnily enough, yeah? Animals and children. Me and him have been about in public and we've seen little toddlers like stare at us, and you know they say that children and dogs can easily pick up into energy and a person's vibes, if they're good or not. That's why some children will look away scared to look at a certain person, and they'll be intrigued and smile at another person. That's the craziest thing. Don't believe us though. You can test this stuff out for yourself. All we can do is share from our practical and experiential situations that we've been in through this. Bro, what's some of the craziest things that have happened to you on retention? Because I've got some stories, man.
Okay,
Let's start.
you're gonna make me think here. Generally,
Yeah.
I feel amazing, and I get experiences like this morning actually, where I was feeling like, wow, I feel, for me, my manifestation power of what I need to do, or if I'm with you, what we need to do, or when I'm by myself, what I need to do, what I want to do that's for the highest order of everyone here. It comes and I start connecting the dots. I need to message this person I forgot about a few weeks ago. So that comes with smartness of thought, clarity. There's no stress in the system. By the way, it takes away a lot of stress.
And your memory also increases.
And memory increases. And what we said before, the words. I mean, if you're the kind of person that enjoys vocabulary and all these things, you're the way you connect the dots. Oh, connecting the dots from all kinds of what's gone wrong with us, the world becomes much smarter, and your words come out. I remember sometimes surprising myself. I'm like, I know you've done it with me too.
Me too.
These words start coming out and you're like, oh, but not from an ego pride way, from a way like it's just in the flow, because the semen is just at this point the semen is circulating in such a powerful way all the way to the head.
There's more bandwidth available.
Yeah.
So your cognitive faculties increase. You start using words that you haven't. Oh, sorry, man. You start using words, like you said, that you haven't used in a very long time. You start to have more grammar. I mean, like the choice of words you use changes. It's crazy. You don't even do it consciously. You start to feel sharper witted. You start to feel smarter, like you said. You start to feel more confident, and you're not even arrogant. Some people that have arrogance within them, that's a very good thing to bring to mention, because I forgot to bring this. Retention will amplify who you already are.
Yes.
So if you're
a dickhead, I mean, sorry to use that word,
yeah,
but
I understand.
I've definitely noticed.
Energy,
I'm not going to name anyone. There's no point because we're all perfect here.
We're not
But at the
about
same
that,
time,
no.
semen retention can save the individual and enlighten you. But at the same time, if you are pridefully, mindedly rigid and attached to it, or I've seen individuals where they'll get the physical benefits, but there's still the spiritual. Everyone gets the physical benefits regardless, but the spiritual mental blocks only comes to those that are ready at that point in the journey, because you can, through pride and other blocks, block out the physical, mental, and get too attached to it, and it will go wrong.
You have to be open, exactly. You must be open to what life or what God, higher self, there's so many names for the same thing, is trying to show you. And like Harry said, if you are very stubborn and you don't want to grow, you're prideful, you have status quo consciousness of, I want it to be like this, and you're not flexible, retention could end up actually being harmful to you.
Even if you think, if I do it for 3 years and that's the only thing I do, I'm going to wake up from this dream. That's a crazy thing, hanging on to an attachment that will stop the block. It will stop it.
Retention is one powerful practice out of many.
But at the same time, at least for me, I've been thinking about it today because we did weights, So we did a 3 rounds of weights.
Just before this.
Before this.
And we feel great.
Everyone has their preferences of what they do and like doing. But I know something with myself that I might get better with. But at this moment in time, I'm averse to push me. I'm averse and don't push myself enough with weights because I don't like the pain. But this is a good thing because for me, semen retention is a lot easier. It's because semen retention actually is easy. It's not a thing like a naughty thing you do. You just don't have to do something. So when you're by yourself, you just don't have to play with it. And by the way, it's going to be hard for guys at the beginning if you're watching this. But I tell you what, it gets easier and easier not to do it the more you receive the benefits and the more that habit gets deconditioned from the mind.
Sorry guys, we'll be right back.
So right? Yeah. Okay.
Sorry guys, we have a guest here and we told them we were busy, but it's okay. More than merry. What I wanted to say, bro?
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
About what you were saying about you need to basically transmute this energy and not like what you said. You can't just sit and do nothing.
No.
You have to channel all this energy that you have. Because if you think about it logically, guys, when you have reproduce with a woman, you're giving her a seed to form another life.
Yeah.
Now, all that life force that goes into making a human being gets absorbed into your own being.
Yes.
So when you use it as fuel and channel that energy,
Exactly.
you can make love, not literally, I mean like symbolically.
Yep.
You can make love to life.
Yep.
And have life open up to you and blossom.
Yeah. It's like my friend Nick Shano on a comment today on the semen retention said to me, it's a good way of putting it, it's just what you said. He said, instead of inseminating, fertilizing a woman, you keep it in, you fertilize yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
You literally blossom from like a little seed
yeah.
into a flower given the time. Yeah?
Absolutely.
And your whole life changes. Yeah. And then you'll start realizing that a little ejaculation, that, yeah, it feels okay. But I'll tell you what, the long-term day-to-day of holding it in far outweighs the little short-term fluff of a 3 seconds. Plus, what you said earlier, eventually with this stuff, we haven't done it yet, but we're going to learn. If you want to learn, once you're holding a seed in, you can learn techniques and practices to have internal
techniques, bro.
Yeah.
We're already learning.
We know a few, but then the next level, if guys are interested, the next level, if guys are interested, is to do the internal orgasms. But the key for that, the foundation, is you need to go on runs of 10, 20, 30 days and longer, and then you can start practicing internal orgasms, which I've had one or two. Can I quickly share one? The one I shared to you before. The only one I've ever had really is like, a few years ago, I was on a deep run and I was doing in my room. I kept the window open during sunset and I was naked in my room. But the main thing is was semen retention with the yoga, specific yoga poses, which I run through with you. Only the first two or three.
You showed me and Eleni at
the shoulder stand with plow pose, and then the one after. That was all it took. On the relax, on the corpse pose afterwards, I just relaxed and I felt my perineum blast off. I could felt this energy building and I was like, ooh. So I wasn't trying to do anything, but the energy built and built, and I tell you, for a few minutes I was like, I can imagine only, I'm not a girl, but it felt like a woman orgasm. I was going, and it felt not in my dick, it was in between my anus and my dick. My perineum was definitely inside me and not on my dick, and I didn't do anything. There was no stimulation apart from the yoga and semen retention, and it lasted for a few minutes, and I don't know how to describe it. It's awesome. It was awesome.
So that was an inner orgasm, yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting.
Exactly.
So the yoga must have, or what you were doing.
The yoga, like the qigong you said, the yoga activated, but the semen retention was the foundation.
Yeah,
Without it, that wouldn't have happened.
Also, when we mention days and all that, because we don't want to be absolute about it, everyone's different.
Yes.
Like, we don't want to limit anyone here too.
No. Yeah.
Like, when you do a transmutation, because it's easy, anybody can do it. You do transmutation when you're working out. You do transmutation when you writing something.
When you face your fears in the real world.
Yeah, you do transmutation when you take a walk.
When you talk to a girl that you're too scared to talk to. When you go and do something for your higher good. When you change your diet. When you start writing in a diary. When you start changing the thoughts in your brain. You're transmuting, yeah? Unless you're sitting at home with no purpose in life. But by the way, if you do semen retention long enough, you're going to get off your ass, because a long semen retention run will give you your higher consciousness, motivation. You'll be like, wow, there's too much energy here. I need to do something with it. Yeah, exactly. And like we said back, if you're a dickhead, you might think of doing something bad, like let's go and rape some women. I'm exaggerating slightly. But if you're a nice person, which is nearly everyone, you'll start transmitting to high conscious thoughts. By the way, I do think it can change the thoughts to high consciousness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What you mentioned there, retention will have a natural tendency to move everyone that practices it towards, if they allow it,
I believe it.
if they allow it, into better moralistic frameworks in your
100%.
consciousness. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
100%.
You start to feel like a better human being and a better man in your character and your integrity and your
Become better, even
yeah.
if it was, yeah, exactly.
your principles may even shift. You may develop new integral viewpoints that you want to hold on to in your life, like the way you do things may change. And bro, like what you said, retention will also amplify certain things that you may have not healed. Retention will, because you have so much life force energy flowing through you. I feel, I'm not saying this is true or not, my perception is that things get stirred up like scum at the bottom of a pond. Yeah, when you start to make the pond shake up by causing commotion, storing up the energy, what have you, it comes to the surface, all the subconscious stuff, all the dark stuff that you've run away from
Yeah.
and haven't faced. So it is a very interesting practice because it does things for you physically.
Yeah.
Increase testosterone, increase muscle mass, you'll get more toned, you'll lose weight even almost effortlessly.
Yeah.
Like you don't even have to exercise that crazy. I've seen it, like your weight starts to normalize, your metabolism normalizes, and bro, like the mental benefits as well.
Yeah.
Like we mentioned, starts to get, like your thinking becomes so clear-minded that your focus becomes more streamlined. You start to have less mental fog. You start to have more, your periphery opens up. More possibilities open up. Oh, bro, I think we forgot to mention this as well.
Yeah.
Your capacity to manifest increases
Almost
more.
like manifestation. Yeah.
And
Yes,
manifestation,
yes,
yeah.
exactly.
You'll start to think certain thoughts, and these thoughts will come into your reality. They will manifest into your reality. 1 second, guys. We've got to.
For me, it's a case of I forget to do things because I get too busy and caught up and too much muck in my mind.
Guys, we're
So
gonna
the
have
manifestation-
to.
yes. Okay, so
Perhaps
let's
just
end
pause
this.
it for now.
So thank you guys. This was Harry. Let's go over Harry.
And this was G-Man. Bro, we don't
Black
have to
Hill
pause
Podcast.
it. I mean, we don't have to finish it, yeah? We can pause it. And we'll be right back, yeah? Sorry, guys, we're back. We just had to take care of something. It's the real world. Sometimes stuff gets like, we get interrupted even when we do a podcast. Just to wrap it up, we wanted to share our experience and with semen retention. If you're a guy, guys, try, like Harry said, 7 days, 10 days, try 2 weeks minimum, and you're already going to feel a damn good shift.
Exactly.
And see what it does for you. Do your own homework. Don't just listen to us. Prove things out for yourself. That's the best laboratory.
Yep.
It's your own body.
I like to say, do what you can and start to improve. And we didn't touch bases. We're going to do much more talks on this. That porn itself, the idea of which all guys have been brought up to in the modern world of internet, is one of the most dangerous, disgusting, harmful, Wetiko, low vibration, energy sucking. Truthfully, if you could see, I said this to you quickly. If you could see each ejaculation, what happens behind the scenes in the vibration. Basically, I'm being real here. Each ejaculation puts a little bit more of that demon. We all have the dark and the light of us. You're giving power to the demons with each ejaculation. And porn is one of the worst ways to ejaculate, and it's just a demon harvest. You're harvesting demons by these activities. So to take back your power, to feel good inside your body, start practicing it, and once you start, you don't stop.
Exactly.
2 steps forward, 1 step back. Always.
Tying into Harry said, check out a book called Your Brain on Porn, and you'll see what it actually does. It's like a drug.
Exactly. And semen retention, The Power of Semen Retention and Growing Your Hair Long by Harry Matadine too.
There you go, bro. Harry wrote a book on it, so get tuned in, guys.
Oh, and even deeper, me and G, we're going to both write a book in the future about this subject.
Oh, we're
so
planning to. We
yes.
may even do a course down the line, guys.
Yes.
We're first going to go deep into it ourselves. I'm going to shoot for 90 days at least and more, bro, indefinitely, because I want to make it a lifestyle.
I'm shooting for the rest of my life, including No Wet Dreams. I'm done.
Don't shoot, bro. You want to avoid the shooting. No, I'm kidding. This was a naughty podcast. As always, Black Sheep are signing out. Welcome to the Black Sheep podcast. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And all the best. Cheers.